are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. The man to my right is Evo, and we are back on a beautiful Sunday. I say it's beautiful because the weather outside is very nice, but as you guys can see, I have sunglasses on. I am up in the Northeast. There's fuckloads of fires in Canada. The smoke is giving me all sorts of problems, as well as the pollen. I cannot wait for it to rain. I look like I've been crying all day because of my allergies, so the sunglasses stay on, but it is a beautiful fucking day. Other than that, Evo, how are you doing, big guy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just it feels like the weekend just started, but I guess it's already Sunday, huh?
It is already Sunday. Your schedule's a little different than mine. So I feel like this is your last day. This is your Saturday, right? Because you don't go in until much later.
Yeah, I go in late on Monday evenings, but that's probably going to switch here in July time frame. Gonna have a monsoon schedule going, so I'll probably be working real early mornings.
Yeah, fuck monsoon schedules. I remember those. They're not fun. Did not enjoy them. For you guys, it's probably a little different. I don't know if they're gonna adjust it to where you guys, because you guys can't come in on Sundays unless they want to pay you shitloads of extra money, right?
Yes.
So I doubt that will happen. So we'll probably continue to stick with the Sunday shows. But we'll see. We'll continue to keep people updated. A lot of things in the works. We got some things in the works that are going to come to fruition here in the next few months. Hopefully that are going to excite a lot of people that have been rocking with us since the beginning of this. But I'm excited for that. But the show goes nowhere. We'll continue to figure out ways to do it, no matter what your schedule, my schedule is. Mine's going to be super fucking simple. I have summer classes for just a little while, and then once fall semester comes around, I only have class on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I'm going to be fucking wide open to do whatever we need to do.
Yeah, that's my work schedule as of right now is not going to affect my availability at all. Realistically, I'm just going to be going to a day shift, just a very, very early day shift. So I'll be good to go.
There we go. So, man, we had a lot of interesting things happen over this last week, but before we start diving into, the overarching world of sports, we're going to stick close to home, close to my home. We're going to talk some youth sports. The team that we are sponsoring with the Lineman Lounge, we are back in the win column. We are over 500 at this point. We have not been over 500 at any point in the season other than the game one, because we won the first game. We had a doubleheader, lost game two. So we are back over 500. We just beat the team with the second best record in the league. It was a very close game all the way up until the end when we had enough pitching to outlast, and they did not. So things are definitely trending up for the boys on that Lineman Lounge Majors team. So very, very excited for that. The guys are working very, very hard. We're getting much better. I still got to find us a practice. We were going to try to do one this weekend. That did not really happen. A little bit to do with my schedule. Had a lot of other things going on, and I don't necessarily want to take the kids out when the air quality is as bad as the air quality is right now. It's not good for them. Obviously, it's not good for me either. So we're going to try to figure out something probably Monday to get the boys out there and practice. Our next game will be Wednesday. But one of the reasons that we couldn't do it yesterday, had another T-ball game going on. Today, I think, is just getting ready to be finishing up. That little girl, man, Aubrey Jane, is an absolute tank on the little T-ball team she's on. She hits the piss out of the ball very fast. They have to tell her very specifically to stay in certain areas, certain spots, because she will just literally sprint right across the field and get the ball before anybody else will. I love the tenacity. I love the aggression there, but we got to learn how to play our position a little bit better. But she's doing fantastic, man. I had a good time yesterday. It was just me and the girls out there at the ball fields, and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And honestly, I didn't realize it was that bad of air quality there in Ohio. I mean, I think most people have probably seen they've probably seen all the pictures of New York City and how it looks kind of like a hellscape. There's a nice sepia tone to everything up there. But I didn't know it was reaching down as far to you as possible with those fires in Canada.
Yeah, so we had some There's some pictures in Cleveland that also kind of looked very hazy. Not quite as hazy as New York. New York is getting it much, much worse. Oh, that comment's hilarious. Thank you. I mean, appreciate that. I'll take that for sure. But yeah, so it's not getting as bad as New York, but it is bad. We actually just got an alert on our phone saying, hey, air quality is very, very poor today. So just trying to avoid that. It sucks, man. I am very susceptible to allergies. Like Arizona would kill me. And the fact that it hasn't rained in Northeast Ohio in like 3 fucking weeks and the pollen is just getting it right now has also not helped that situation.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting a little bit of the smoke down here too. I don't think it's too bad today, but yesterday we had fires in Mexico that were pushing smoke up the Huachucas and into town here. So it was a little hazy, but not that bad.
Well, that's good. That's very, very good. Any youth sports going on out there? I know that you were just talking about fires, but any youth sports going on out there that we need to talk about, dive into before we start getting into some of the harder hitting topics of the week, because there's some things that we got to talk about. One of them specifically, I'm probably going to get a little heated.
Nothing too crazy. I mean, this is more so for you and for the people that you kind of worked with a little bit more here doing youth sports, is that Veterans Memorial Field just had a large sports complex that's going to be opening up there.
Oh, nice.
Brand new track around it, football field. So looks like a pretty nice facility that they ended up building, and they ended up putting it up pretty quick, in between the Memorial Park and the Walmart out here.
Yeah, so that's there's an old elementary school or something out over there, Apache Elementary School, that they finally renovated and got that field up. We ended up using that little baseball field there quite a bit when we were in the younger levels because it's an extra field. But the facilities out there were kind of crap over by old Apache. They did a great job. I saw a picture of the new football field. It looks fantastic. The track looks great. I hope that they get a ton of use out of that. I hope they put some of the, Sierra Vista youth football over on that field. Like, let some of the older kids play on an actual field rather than having to use the baseball fields the entire time. That's a great thing that we can use. And we can also host, all sorts of other things, flag football tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm sure that they got plans booked out for a while at that spot. So it'll be
and
pretty cool.
I say we like I'm still there, but
hey, you're still part of the community in one way, shape, or form or another.
I feel like I am. I miss those guys. Love those guys. I was able to see them for a little bit. The other coaches, when I came down there to get my sister, we had that podcast. You came out and met the boys yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. Had by all. I probably had one too many beers, but we won't get too far into that.
Don't know anything about it.
Yeah. All right. Let's start talking some national sports. We'll talk about the big one that's going on right now. We got finals NBA still going on. It is a 3-1 series. I have the Nuggets winning this thing in 6. I actually have money on the Nuggets winning this thing in 6. I went through and I made a bet. I said, hey, listen, it's going to go Nuggets, Heat, Nuggets, Heat, Nuggets. And right now I am on track to hit that bet, to get the exact order in which these games are going to go. So root for the Heat in the next one. But honestly, man, like I could easily see the Nuggets just kind of walking away with this thing. They have been so good. Jimmy Butler is an absolute stud, but the Nuggets are finding, dudes that can just kind of come out of nowhere. Aaron Gordon has not been a huge factor in the playoffs or the finals. Massive game 5. So they're just finding ways to make it work. Jimmy Butler is a stud. They got some dudes over there, but I think the Nuggets are just a little too much for them.
Yeah, Nuggets being up 3-1 as of right now. Obviously, they can take it in game 5 here, technically. And I think it's possible. I think NBA fans would like to see the series extend out. I think most people feel like the Nuggets kind of have this in the bag. So it would be surprising if the Heat were able to battle back and basically win this thing out. But most NBA fans would probably like to see the Heat win this game and then move on, let the Nuggets win the next one and take the series. But I definitely could see the Nuggets going ahead and just
wrap this thing up in 5. I could see them wrapping it up in 5. I hope they don't. I hope we get an extra game, and that'll also pay me as long as they win it in game 6. So
Absolutely.
other NBA news, there's not a ton of other things in the NBA going on. Coaches have been hired, coaches have been fired, but there is one weird, interesting story. It's kind of a cross section of two sports. Conor McGregor was at a Heat game. He was doing a little promo with the Heat. Gave the mascot for the Heat a little 2-piece, and it did not go the way it was supposed to go. Connor actually ended up hitting the gentleman inside of the mascot suit hard enough that he needed to be taken to the emergency room because there was some damage actually done. This is a hilarious story, but it's also, I feel bad for the mascot because, like, what are you going to do? We're going to say, like, oh, yeah, it's going to be fun. Me and Conor McGregor are going to have an opportunity to interact, and he's going to throw a couple of fake punches, and it's going to be great. And then all of a sudden, Conor McGregor fucking punches you. And you're like, oh, I don't like this anymore. This is not fun. This is crazy to me. This is wild. When you saw this story, what was your initial reaction?
It's pretty funny. It's comical for sure. I mean, you would think that they would have either talked to Conor beforehand and be like, hey, don't completely follow through with these punches, make it look good type thing. You know, you're about to be in a Roadhouse movie. I'm sure you know how to act a little bit when you're fighting. But, you know, if he's actually going to punch the guy, let's put in a little bit extra padding in there, or go through with Conor like, hey, here are the spots on the body to hit or something like that in order to not completely fuck our guy up. And it sounds like, you know, this was probably more blown up than anything. The guy got sent to the ER because he did get hit by Conor McGregor and was probably a little bit fucked up from it. But they just sent him there, checked him out, sent him home with some pain meds. You know, it's not like he had broken bones or anything like that. Which I think for any of us, if you take a 1-2 from Conor McGregor, you're going to probably feel it.
Yeah.
You know, if he's actually going out there and putting it up. So it's funny. It was probably just a little bit of a faux pas, you know, on the Heat for not rehearsing it correctly.
Yeah, whoever set up this promotional idea, I mean, I love the idea. I think it's fantastic if it's executed the right way. As long as your guy doesn't end up going to the hospital, this is super cool. This is a fun thing. Nice little cross section. Conor McGregor is huge in the United States, especially down there in the Miami area. They fight down there all the fucking time. So this would have been great, other than the fact that you didn't tell Conor, hey, maybe pull the punches a little bit. Like, let's not go ahead and actually drive one through this guy's suck hole.
Yeah. More or less.
Oh man. Oh,
but it's how it's going for the Heat right now in this series, I guess. I mean, a little bit of I don't know, foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you're injured at work, go ahead and call 888-786-3683. I'm sure if you get a settlement, you can call fucking JG Wentworth 877 cash now.
Oh,
and
man, on it.
Oh yeah. And then they can fucking hook you up and give you the cash that you need immediately. JG Wentworth, not a sponsor.
Sensational.
Could be. I don't know. I don't know. Do we want JG Wentworth to sponsor us?
If they want to give us money, I'm not going to turn it down.
That's true. I will take the money.
I mean, I'm not going to say that we're going to be like the PGA, but if we're going to get offered some Saudi money, I might consider it.
Yeah, so we're going to get there, but we got to do one quick thing. Little cross section. We said there was a cross section between basketball, MMA. We got to talk MMA real quick. Big fights last night. Amanda Nunes retains her title and then immediately after calls it quits, retires. Is Amanda Nunes done? I think she probably is. She is. There's nothing else that this woman has to prove. She has beaten every woman that was ever considered to be the GOAT. She is the GOAT. She's going out as a multi-time champion with 2 fucking belts. I think she's probably done. She's going to go and be mom with her and her wife. And it's great for her, man. Congratulations on a fantastic career. She is the GOAT woman fighter of all time.
Yeah, 35 years old. I think you're going to, I mean, if we're talking about other professional sports, this is the type of age where a person calls it quits, especially when you've reached, you know, kind of the pinnacle of where you're at in your sport. And when it's a combat sport, it's better to get out early than late, because if you start going downhill, taking a whole bunch of losses and stuff like that, and keep throwing yourself out there, the physical damage to your body is just already huge, but it's not going to be a good look. To go out on top on your terms, say, hey, I've made it here. I've made my money. I am considered one of the best, if not the best, in my area of the sport. That's the way to do it. So her calling it quits, does she have more in her? Absolutely. I think that she still has plenty more in her if she wanted to have more fights. I don't think it's worth it. I think
I
this
don't think
is a
so
good time
either.
for her to call it.
Yeah, I mean, she's going out on top of the game. I think that's exactly what she should do. Roberta Gooselini pops in. I'm not sure what the fuck that means. And
I don't know. He's off in different countries over there across the
Okay.
sea. So
Speaking in code, keeping it OPSEC. I appreciate that.
fuck, I know.
But yeah, man, I'm happy for her. She goes out on top. She should go out on top. I don't think there's any question. She is the GOAT for women's MMA. Like, she has done everything. Everybody thought it was going to be Cyborg. Cyborg this, Cyborg that. For the longest time, everybody wanted Cyborg to fight Ronda Rousey. That was going to be the greatest matchup of all time. Ronda didn't have any striking ability there towards the end, probably ever. We saw Amanda Nunes just kind of develop her game, stand up. Her striking was fantastic. She was able to go onto the ground. She beat the hell out of Cyborg. She went through basically everybody that she has fought, with the exception of these last couple fights. She had one hiccup, gets her title back, and then this last fight doesn't get a finish. It's a decision. She's not quite as dominant as she once was. So this is where you call it quits. Like, listen, I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Fucking Bret Hart, and just walk out of there and call it a day. She's got it. Yeah. She's got the money.
Oh yeah, and it's not like if she doesn't want a career doing something with MMA going forward, not as a fighter, but a coach or a even possible personality or something like that. You know, with her pedigree, she'll be able to be well off.
All right. You got anything else on the MMA, NBA? No. Since we had little cross sections there.
Yeah, not really. I mean, there were fights last night. The next biggest one was Charles Oliveira taking another win by TKO.
He's a dude.
Kind of expected that as well.
Yeah. I mean, Dariush is a good fighter. Charles Oliveira is the best guy in that division other than Makhachev. Like, it's just, is anybody good enough to beat Makhachev? That's the tough thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. But, all right. So, let's transition over. This is going to be real quick, so we'll just go MLB, and then we'll start diving into fucking golf. Major League Baseball, okay. At one point, the AL Central had nobody over the over 500 mark. That's embarrassing. Now you guys are back over 500 finally. Yeah. A game over 500. We are 2.5 back. Both of our teams are just middling. They kind of stink. Trade deadline is approaching, though. What moves do you need to see out of your Twins to help elevate this team to fucking try to pull away from my Guardians?
We need to trade everyone to try to get Luis Arias back.
Yeah.
No. He's the best batter in baseball right now. And it was the same thing last year. I mean, he was fucking phenomenal last year. I don't know why we didn't do whatever was necessary to retain him. It's sad. But again, it's as kind of that ultimate pessimist Twins fan. I guess I'm kind of just used to it, where it's like if we have a good player, they are gone. You know, they'll be here for a couple of years once we've developed them, and then they're gone, which is really a bummer because Arias has been fantastic, and I would love to have him on the team. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else to do.
Yeah. So for me, I think you guys need to get healthy. I don't know. You guys got to find a new fucking trainer. You guys are banged up again. Polanco just went out. You guys are constantly in a state of somebody's being fucking hurt. I don't know. Other than that, your pitching staff is okay still. You guys have good bats. Like, you're just you guys are mad, but you guys are always banged up. For us, we need fucking power so bad. We need to trade Shane Bieber because we have other guys. Gavin Williams is a guy who I cannot wait to get up into the big leagues. He's still waiting. He doesn't have a spot right now. There's nowhere to put him. We need to trade fucking Shane Bieber and find a way to bring in a power bat. That is absolutely what we need. So if that's going to happen, I don't know. I don't know where else. I mean, there's one team that I think that I would like to make a trade with. Cardinals, they can take Shane Bieber. They can have a guy who's a really good, like crafty pitcher to take over for Adam Wainwright, who was that guy for a very, very long time. Bieber's not dominating. He's just very, very crafty. Perfectly. So send him over there and send me back like a Dylan Carlson, somebody who can fucking hit the goddamn ball hard. Tyler O'Neill, something like that. That is what I would love to see. Will that happen? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to have the juice to do this because we're going to be somewhere right around there. And so we got a lot of fucking comments coming in. We'll hit the ones that are about baseball real quick. So somebody's saying that we should trade with the Reds or the Cardinals. Guardians need young bats. And then producer Amber decided she wanted to fucking piss me off during the show and brought up Mike Zunino. He needs to be cut. He should be DFA'd. He should have been DFA'd in the middle of the fucking game last night. Multiple errors, cannot block, cannot throw out runners. He's not fucking hitting. This is a guy who is supposed to be an offensive-minded catcher. He is hitting under 200, and he is making critical fucking errors every goddamn time he is behind the plate. So Mike Zunino needs to go. Ahmed Rosario can go. Shane Bieber can go. If any of those guys can be packaged together to bring back some fucking power bats, that is what I would love to see. But nobody's trading for Mike Zunino. I don't know if anybody's going to trade for Ahmed Rosario. And Shane Bieber is only going to have 1 year of retainability. After this year, I don't know how much we can get for him.
Yeah. I mean, the Twins are in the same place with a guy like Max Kepler. It seems like he's just kind of falling asleep out there sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised to see him possibly end up getting jettisoned here shortly, because there's been times where it seems like he's just falling asleep while playing out there on defense. And that's just not.
I mean, we're not fucking 12 years old anymore, guys. Like, come on now. That's what happens to my little leaguers every once in a while.
Yeah.
Now,
we did have one football comment here before we really transition to it. Patriots surprise AFC East champions.
Not happening.
Norwood, I don't see that happening. I mean,
that's not fucking happening.
It would be a surprise. It would be a surprise. But you guys are probably the odds-on favorite to be in fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, Bills, Dolphins, and Jets all have reason why they could be better. Now, I would love to see you guys take third and the Jets to be fourth because of just
Aaron Rodgers,
a terrible implosion with bringing Aaron Rodgers in there, but probably not going to be the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Dolphins actually might be my sneaky team here that wins this thing, especially if they can maybe go out and sign a running back that we'll talk about after a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, baseball, we got some interesting things. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, but
pretty high to this comment. I'm just assuming Norwood.
How high are some of your listeners? Yeah, I mean, yep, probably high. Oh man, like well, we're gonna get to the football, I promise. But before we get to football, we're gonna talk live. We're gonna end with our bread and butter. We're gonna talk football. We're gonna talk about that division because I believe that there's gonna be some things that are going to change the way that division plays out. Oh, we just got more and more shit popping in there. I love all the comments today, though. Thank you guys very much for popping in, saying what's up, and interacting with us. But let's make the transition. Let's talk some fucking golf. I love playing golf. I stink at playing golf.
Thought I was going to get to play some golf today, but
I thought you were going to play some golf today as well. It didn't happen, right? But I don't know if there would be a greater joy in my life than to play golf and get paid for it. Get paid a lot of fucking money for it. Like life-changing, life-altering money would be insane to play golf. And I wouldn't even have to necessarily be one of the greatest golfers in the world if I were going to make a transition and go play for Live, right? That is what happened. We had a lot of guys who were not the best in the world. Pretty good guys, some decent names.
We're still talking top 250 probably.
Yeah. Still, I mean, some of the greatest golfers in the world, but not necessarily your top 10. A couple of those guys made the jump.
There were some top 10ers though. There were
a
Dustin
couple.
Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka. I
Right.
mean, Phil maybe isn't top 10. Every once in a while, he'll put up a top 10 performance, but he's not necessarily top 10 ranked in all of golf anymore. But you had a bunch of big names jump over.
Right. But you had the opportunity to go make just an astronomical amount of money for Live because they were offering just astronomical amounts of money to get their league off the ground. Some guys took it. And then those gentlemen were absolutely crucified by the PGA, the other members or the other players on the PGA Tour reporters, fucking regular ass reporters. It didn't matter. If you took the money, you were a fucking scumbag piece of shit. I remember that being the narrative for basically every person that went over to Live. Tell me if you saw something else.
No, I mean, you very few and far between had any sort of reporting or anything being like, hey, these guys are just trying to get as much money as they can while they can. And can you really fault a person for that? But for the most part, it was all, let's bring out, family members of those who died in 9/11 and basically use them as a showpiece to say, hey, those of you that are going to play for Live, you're directly fucking with these families who lost loved ones.
Yeah. We had a comment that was saying just exactly that as you were saying it. So the vitriol behind these people making the move was insane. Like, not even close to being within the context of what actually happened.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
No, you're good.
And then there are multiple lawsuits. Live golfers file antitrust lawsuits against the PGA because the PGA is essentially trying to create a monopoly, right? Mm-hmm. If you go over there, you're fucked. We're going to bury this league and there's nothing that you guys are going to be able to do. You're out forever. So they file antitrust lawsuits. Then the PGA countersues Live Golf and they say that they're purposely undercutting agreements that they had with PGA Tour golfers, which is an interesting thing to say considering that there was no contract. They were not guaranteed any fucking money at any point. So there's just tons and tons of legal battles. This seems like there is irreparable damage done between the PGA, Live, and the golfers for each respective unit. Correct? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah. It was more drama than I can think I ever can think of between two sports leagues. I mean,
yeah,
it was like a soap opera, them going back and forth and trading barbs and things on social media and things like that. But I mean, we also haven't had two sports leagues that are just like one another, really. I mean, you have NFL and then you have XFL, and no one's going to say the XFL is ever going to be as good as the NFL. That sort of thing isn't going to happen. But when you have Live Golf come out here and bring over truly a lot of the really good players from the PGA, some of them more aging and things like that, but they're actually being competitive and they're getting good viewership numbers and they're actually making a huge dent in the PGA. And the PGA doesn't just go like, whatever, and maybe adjust to try to fix for it. They just are like, this is how we've done it. This is what we're going to do. And these guys are all terrorists. It's been a soap opera basically between Live Golf and the PGA for 2-3 years now, almost.
Yeah, I'd say almost 3 years. So what makes all of those things better? What makes that all just fucking go away and the PGA is now okay with the PIF and Live, who they quote said was just sports washing their atrocities to build this league. They were just going to bring in a bunch of sports people to hide the fact that they were committing these terrible atrocities. What makes all of that go away? What makes it okay for the PGA Tour to say, yeah, we'll work with Live? The same fucking thing that all of the golfers who left to go to Live were absolutely crucified for. Money. All this fucking took was Brooks Koepka winning a major And the amount of money that was going towards Live and pumping them up, all it took was PGA saying, hey, we'll take some of that motherfucking Saudi money too.
Yeah,
And
at
now
least
we're
Monahan.
good.
At least Monahan, because again, the PGA is a player-run league. Monahan is the front person for them for a little bit. He's not going to be out there
now.
very long because he's going to get voted out real quick. But yeah, they made a deal for money. I don't think the numbers have actually been announced. The deal isn't actually 100% concrete done, even though it was announced by the Saudi owner of I can't remember what the name of the company is.
Yasir Al Rumayyan.
Yeah.
Rumayyan? Yeah, Rumayyan.
Something like that. And Monahan, they went on the news and basically were like, yeah, it's a done deal. I mean, we haven't dotted the T's and signed the I's and all that stuff yet, but it's going to happen. Now we got a comment on here. How do we feel about the Saudi-backed Live merging with PGA? That's definitely what we're getting into here. Yeah. And the question is, from a lot of people, I mean, we went into this when Live kind of became a big thing. How do we feel about it? And I believe both of us were basically like, hey, we don't like what happened with 9/11. We don't like all that stuff, but it would be hypocritical of us just to be like, bad Live because you have Saudi backing. I have pulled up here a whole bunch of places that the Saudi money is involved in. Now, if we're just talking sports,
show that graphic.
If we're just talking sports, we've got F1, we've got, football or soccer, as we like to call it here. But if we're going into regular areas of commerce and whatnot, BP, where a lot of people get their fuel from, $828 million. Boeing, $714 million. Citigroup, a bank that a lot of people use here in the US, $522 million. They own 5% of that company. Facebook, $522 million. Marriott Hotels. If you stay at a Marriott hotel, you are apparently, according to the PGA,
terrorist.
As of 2 weeks ago, you're a terrorist supporting 9/11. Disney. Do you like your Donald Ducks and your Mickey Mouse and all your rides? $496 million that they have invested there. Cisco, which runs most of the data centers and stuff in the U.S. Your huge IT company, $491 million. Bank of America, $488 million, and a 4.76% shareholder stake by Saudis. The list goes on and on. You cannot find a piece of your life right now that isn't somehow invested in by Saudi money. All right. If you want to sit here and say that these players are supporting terrorism, well, then you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I am as well. There's bad people out there in the world. There's bad people who do bad things with their money. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Saudis didn't, and I don't know the full story behind it. They probably had something to do with it. But we're talking almost apples to oranges. Not that we can't compare fruit, but this is a different situation. This is very wealthy people trying to create a sports league and, in a way, bring this game forward from what it has been. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this goes going forward, though, because the PGA, they are the gentleman's sport. They are the sport that is quiet, reserved, all of that. And Live is much more the rousy, rambunctious type. They have teams. They've got beer and music playing.
They fucking wear shorts.
Players can wear shorts out there. They seem to be having a good time. And not only that, but they're paying their players exponentially better. I mean, we're talking Tiger got offered $800 million to come over and play. I think Rory was like $500 million.
$500 million.
If you're getting offered $500 million to go play golf and you don't have to play in every event, these guys are getting to spend more time with their families. They're getting more money. They're probably having less pressure and stress. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works out, because PGA and Rory still thinks that Live's going to go away, but
that's
not. So. They're going to run simultaneously, and I think they're going to have ways for players to basically opt in and say, "Hey, I'm going to play 3 or 4 events with Live this year on this team, but otherwise I'm going to be devoted towards PGA, things like that," and it's going to help figure out the golf rankings better. I mean, again, the DP World Tour is also in there, so that's European stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see how they're able to intermingle all this together. Either way, it sounds like everyone in all the majors is going to probably be able to play again, which is a good thing for golf fans and a good thing for those players that were previously feeling like they're going to get blocked from that. But it's just hypocritical. I mean, the PGA wants to throw shade at Live Golf for their Saudi backers. Okay, I get it. But you've got to be able to be willing to look at yourself too. I mean, golf was a predominantly male white sport up until very recently. Some country clubs, some major clubs that you see in these majors didn't allow women to golf there, didn't allow people of color to golf there into like the 80s. Right? That's our lifetime.
The Masters didn't have a fucking female member until Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, so it's if they want to talk about bad stuff in the past, everyone's got it.
Yeah.
There's bad shit everywhere. It'll be really interesting though. This is probably the biggest piece of golf news that has happened
ever
in possibly our lifetime.
Yeah. So my stance on this is that obviously I don't even understand why I would have to make the statements about to come out of my mouth. 9/11 was bad, right? Like I should never have to say that. To suggest that somebody supported 9/11 because they work with an organization where some of the terrorists who committed those atrocities are from is asinine. EA Sports, we just went through 10 different fucking companies that get Saudi money. Every single one of those companies supports terrorism, supports 9/11. They supported the murdering of that fucking reporter in Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. That's what honestly what we were trying to say. That is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. I have no problem with taking the money. You know why? Because the people that held these fucking high moral grounds were not doing it for high moral grounds that it was so wrong. They were doing it because of money. It was all about the money. As soon as Liv was able to pay these fucking golfers the money that they are able to pay them, the PGA was able to find more money for the golfers on their tour. They made all sorts of
more money, not the same sort of money.
Yeah,
more money.
Just more money. All of a sudden, just randomly more money came out. And then when there's a possibility that PGA is going to be hurt by Live golfers winning majors, they decided to take the money themselves. What should have happened was every single goddamn player that was offered money should have fucking taken it. Because the powers that be who stood there on their fucking pedestals and said, absolutely not, we would never, how dare you support these fucking terrorists, immediately turned tail when the money came their way. And now they're in bed making that money. And every single athlete, every golfer who turned it down is going to be left empty fucking handed. They are not getting an ounce of that money. They should have taken the money.
Despite what PGA says, they say that the people that suck by them, they're going to be rewarded and they're going to end up getting as much, if not more, than the PGA or than the Live Golf players. Why didn't you do that in the first place? If that was true, why weren't those players like, oh, we have competition. Let's meet the competition. We'll pay our players what they're getting paid. Oh, we got a good question here.
There you go. Let's do it. So, Sleeveless Mike, if I offered you $6.9 million in cash right now for 1 year deal to ditch Evo to be the host a show, the Dad Bod Dino, would I take it?
Yes.
Yes. 100%.
Yes.
100%. Evo, I love you. I'll see you in a fucking year with all the funding that we're going to need.
I was going to say, you could just send me a little bit of that cash and I'll be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll continue to build. We'll continue to do our other side things that we're working on and build all of that up. That way, when year one hits and I can get out of that, we'll be ready to roll. 100%. I'm taking that fucking money.
That's a business decision.
I have 3 kids and a wife.
Yeah,
of course I'm taking the fucking money.
Why wouldn't you take generational money?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Why would you not do it? And that is not something. I don't even have any moral high ground to stand on there. Like, that's just, hey, here's a bunch of money. Yeah. Hey, Evo, by the way, see you in a year, bro. Well, fucking.
Yeah. Hey. I would leave my wife for that money.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a feeling that there's a lot of people out there that would leave their wives for a lot less. Let's see here. Next year, you merge in Evo, but he gets no money. Would I accept that? If during this $6.9 million, okay, yes, one, if I got nothing out of it, I'd accept it because I'm not going to block Mike from taking 6.9 million. Two, I would hope that he would maybe toss me a mil or two or something like that for my troubles. And then if I get merged in a year later and get no money after that, okay, I'm fine. I don't care. I already made more than I would have ever expected. Even $1 million more.
Yeah, like
than I ever expected. 100% happening.
These questions are, I don't understand. Like, yes, 100%. The golfer should have taken the money. If you have some sort of like, I understand if you have a very strict like moral code that says that I absolutely would not take the money. You could not do that. If you were a PGA Tour golfer, it doesn't matter the level of money, doesn't matter the level of prestige. If you, in your heart of hearts, had a moral obligation that said I could not back them, I could not work with them because of the things that they have done. You know what the PGA has now done to those people? They have taken that fucking right and that option away so they can take the money. So not only have they guilted players into not taking the money, they then took that money for themselves and took away the option for players to say, no, I don't want to work with the Saudis. Now they fucking have to, or they give up their dreams of being a PGA golfer. The PGA has fucked this up so bad. There is no way to fix this. This is irreparable damage. I believe that the PGA at some point folds and this becomes almost a mostly live golf tour.
I don't think the PGA will fold. I think that live golf won't let them fold. I think that they're going to throw so much money at this thing that PGA is going to be bigger, better than ever. But it's not going to be the PGA that everyone knew. It's going to be, they're not going to make it live, but they're going to advance the sport and pay players crazy amounts of money as well. And probably make these big events even more of a spectacle. So I think that it could go the opposite way. I think the PGA that we know is dead, though.
Yeah, you'll never see another after this year. Once the new season starts next year and this merger is fully in place, the PGA that you knew, like the old heads of the PGA, are not gonna fucking watch it no more.
Yeah,
everybody that stayed away from live is gonna be turned away from the PGA. Oh, so that is a great tournament. This place is gonna be fucking bonkers. The Waste Management Open is going to be insane. That's already the most insane PGA Tour event where they give you a little bit of that live atmosphere. Wait until live gets their motherfucking hands on the Waste Management Open, dude. That's going to be insane.
Mm-hmm. So overall, probably a good thing for golf. Bad thing for the PGA as it stands right now. A really bad look.
They turned down what? Almost over $2 billion worth of money.
It was over $2 billion that was offered to a bunch of guys who ended up staying with PGA. I believe like 8 or 10 guys. Again, generational money that they were all offered. Not that they were hurting, but not that a lot of the guys that were going over to live were hurting. It's just if I got told, hey, you can make $10 million to play golf, or you can get paid $500 million to play golf. What question is there in that? I'm taking the more lucrative offer. It's just what it is. Like, I can insulate myself from all this shit and this hatred that I'm getting with the stacks and stacks and stacks of money.
Yeah. I just build a soundproof fucking bunker with my $500 million, sit in there and play video games and have I'm not going to finish that. It was going to go. It was going to go dark there.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to reel it back.
Yeah, we're going to pull that one back in. All right.
We would take that money and invest it and do a lot of donating to things like, St. Jude's and things like that.
Yes. Also, St. Jude's great organization. But you know what you could have done? If you were so opposed to the Saudis, you could have taken their money and then donated a bunch of that money to organizations that helped fight the atrocities that you were so dead set against, instead of just standing on moral high ground that you were forced into by the PGA. You could have actually taken that money and used it for good rather than not having that fucking money at all. Yeah. That's another option.
Absolutely.
Whatever. It drives me fucking crazy that this went this way.
Yeah, it was really fucked up by the PGA. They didn't tell any of the players, anything like that. They did a lot of shady things to try to put LIV down through this whole process, and completely did a 180. Monahan is the focal point of it right now because he's CEO or whatever, but he deserves every bit of it. I'm sure he took a lot of money in this whole deal to make it happen, but the way that they went about everything, the way the PGA went about everything, was just as shitty and as skeevy as the whole LIV Saudi money thing, if not worse.
People found out on Twitter.
Yes.
Like guys that turned down hundreds of millions of dollars found out on Twitter. Nobody even knew. It's insane.
Yeah. But golf isn't going to change tomorrow. This is going to take a little while for it all to get figured out. Again, like we said, the deal's done in principle, but not actually signed. So give it a year or two, and we'll actually start to see how the ripples start to affect the game of golf.
Yeah. Oh, man. We had Joe Rockstar popped in. What's up, Joe? So you'd like to see a competitor to the NFL have that stupid kind of money like the Saudis do. He's been watching some USFL. Apparently it's good football. I have not tuned into any USFL. Have you watched any USFL this year?
Just bits and clips and stuff here and there. And so, I'm not going to say it's not good football. It's just when you're talking about the talent levels of the guys playing the NFL versus those other leagues, that's what makes the NFL quite a bit more fun. And there's the history and the heritage behind it, why we follow the teams that we follow. I don't know how I would feel about another competitor coming in.
I don't think it works in the
NFL,
though. I don't think it works in the NFL. And here's the only reason why. The NFL, or American football, is not a national game. The NFL is trying to grow it into a worldwide game, right? They're doing games in London and Germany and Mexico City, but it is not an international game. Golf is an international game. So they have the ability to speak and be in other countries all the time. That doesn't happen in the NFL. So I don't know if it works the same way.
I don't know. It'd be difficult. I mean, even if some backing from, let's say, a Saudi company backed in and created or this merger, XFL and USL, they merge, bought by the Saudis, and they're taking up airtime as well, and they're paying players exorbitant amounts of money to come over and play for them. You're going to have guys jump ship for sure, but you've also got all these network contracts and stuff like that are already doled out to the NFL. It's going to take a huge undertaking to get airtime and things like that. It could happen, but I'm not sure that it does.
Right. And I actually do have a little bit of knowledge on like how the XFL and the USFL has kind of worked and packaged their deals. I was able to talk with Basil DeVito, the president of XFL One, on the other podcast that I do, kind of explained, the way the TV deal worked. And the TV deal is actually kind of what did in the XFL in their first iteration, because they were on a network television, but only on at specific times. They specifically worked around the NFL or other things that would create problems. And every game was not televised on network television. So with the NFL having a stranglehold on your standard television, it's not going to be an easy thing to find a way to break into that market at specific. Like, you cannot have any overlap with college football or the NFL. NBA Finals is going to drive ratings down as well. The NHL fucking the Stanley Cup Finals is going to drive down those ratings as well. It's very tough to have that other football season on a network program because of all the other things that are going on. So, I mean, a merger would be cool, but what is the money going to do? I mean, the money's going to attract some players over for sure. Like back in the day when guys didn't want to go to a specific NFL team, they would go play in the USFL. But now I don't know that it's possible to get those names and get on network television and compete against all of those other things that are going on during the NFL's offseason.
You can't even do a deal probably like Live Golf did with YouTube, where they're broadcasting on YouTube, because YouTube now has
NFL Sunday
with
Ticket.
the NFL.
Yeah, like
yeah. I don't know that it would work. I guess I'm biased. I would hope that it wouldn't work. I like my NFL to say NFL.
My NFL football.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, if you're a fan of the PGA, pretty soon you'll see PGA, DP, and Live all in one spot. I don't even know what the fucking DP league is, by the way.
It's Europe.
Okay.
That's
see, I totally thought of something else.
It's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But with that, we kind of talked a little bit about the NFL there. Do you want to transition over into the actual NFL, our bread and butter?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead, hop into the NFL, because we got a couple of storylines that we definitely need to talk about. Go ahead and lead us off there, man.
All right. So ex-Chiefs defensive end Frank Clark ended up signing a deal with the Broncos this week. You also have DeAndre Hopkins coming out and saying that he's going to be taking some visits here, first to the Titans with his old coach Mike Vrabel, and then he's going to be going a little bit further up north and checking in with the New England Patriots and doing a workout there for them as well. He did not end up going to Cleveland like you thought as of Tuesday. That's not to say they're off the table. They definitely probably are still on the table. I think DeAndre's just kind of taking his time with checking.
I think so too, because the places he's going to visit do not meet the criteria of the things that he was saying that he was looking for.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting, this is DeAndre Hopkins' first time being a free agent. You know, he was with the Texans and then traded to the Cardinals, hasn't been a free agent. So he hasn't gotten that experience of being wooed, wined, and dined in 69. So this is it. This is his opportunity to go look around, see what's available to him, see who wants to, sell him as much as possible, and might as well do it. I mean, it's not like he's going to participate in much of these offseason workouts anyways, because he is an older player. He's a veteran. Those guys like to kind of take it easy as much as they can in the offseason, and I get that. So this is probably just the first two of many visits that he's going to end up having.
Yeah, I would expect there's going to be a lot more visits. The Titans don't make any sense to me. They don't know what's going on with their quarterback situation. Now, they are bereft of fucking weapons. They have no goddamn weapons out in Tennessee. But does DeAndre want to go out there and be the only weapon at wide receiver? Does DeAndre still have the juice to be the only weapon at wide receiver? Remains to be seen. So I don't know why Tennessee is an option, especially because they don't know who's going to start. I think there's a very real possibility that Tannehill gets the hook fairly early on in the season, unless Derrick Henry keeps them alive and they're still winning games. The Patriots also doesn't necessarily make sense to me.
We might go out and re-sign Drew Locker or something like that to play quarterback. We just don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be out there in Tennessee. And yeah, it's not a great spot for him to go. If he's looking for an established quarterback, an established offense, and an offense where he can fit in as a wide receiver 2/1 type of situation, I don't know that he's wide receiver 1 material anymore. And we kind of talked about this last week. He's probably lost a step. He's still a good possession guy. He can create a little bit of separation at the catch point, but we don't know exactly what he has anymore because he's been so injury ridden and he's getting older. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't slot in well with one of these teams that has a decent wide receiver room already, but could use a big time playmaker like DeAndre Hopkins. So that's why the Cleveland situation made a little bit of sense. You got Amari Cooper out there already.
Yep.
And
you got Elijah
Moore. So he doesn't have to be the guy. If he goes to the Titans, he's kind of it. Like, they don't have anything established. They don't have the offensive line. They're in a rebuild mode. They don't have the quarterback. If you go to the Patriots, where he's going to be taking this other visit, you've got two quarterbacks that are the same guy, and Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones, and neither of them are really showing to be it, to have what it is that is necessary to be a franchise quarterback long term. It's a Bill Belichick led team, which is known for being a rough spot. I mean, a lot of veterans go there and have success, but it's tough not to have success when you have Tom Brady out there, Craig Magic left and right. The defense is still good up there, but the offense is kind of mid. They don't really have much as far as receivers. So DeAndre slots in as the best receiver on that team, is going to get all the attention right away. You're going to have a so-so quarterback and a decent run game with Ramondre Stevenson, but the offense just doesn't seem to really suit or fit what he would want or need at this point in his career. You've got so many other spots.
Nobody on that team stretches the field. Like, and DeAndre doesn't stretch the field anymore. So I don't know why the Patriots would seem like a fit either.
Maybe Mac Jones can't stretch the field.
Okay, so that's a possibility. I think Bailey Zappi can maybe stretch the field a little bit.
He could. He's got a cannon on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like either of those teams as fits. It's just like a soft start, though, to this tour that DeAndre's probably going to end up taking.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine he's going to be 5-6 teams before he finally makes a decision.
Probably. Yeah.
Some comments coming in. Yeah. So I think you called him Drew Locker. I believe it was Jake Locker. Jake Locker. I fucking loved that kid coming out of college. He did not materialize at all. Kid out of Seattle just did not work. I guess Washington University. And then D-Hop is only going to go to a team who can throw for 50 touchdowns. Is there a guy in the league other than Pat Mahomes that can throw for 50 touchdowns right now?
Given the right situations, yes. I think we're talking about basically, like your top 5 could throw for 50 touchdowns. That is Mahomes, Burrow, technically Josh Allen. You know, he's going to throw a decent amount of picks as well. Herbert, I think, could, given enough receiving options out there. Yeah. I think Herbert, I really like Justin Herbert. I was kind of off on him coming in from the draft, but I think that he is being held back by that coaching staff.
The fucking coaching staff that just makes the wrong decision every time.
Any of those guys could have a really pop-off year and be able to throw for 50 touchdowns. And if you're saying that he needs to go to a team that could throw for 50 touchdowns so that way he gets part of the share, I get it. But I don't expect him to be the huge stat guy anymore. If you have the Texans of old, D-Hop and Deshaun Watson, then yes, I want him to be the stat guy. I want him getting huge numbers because they're both in their youth and they're clicking. But as of right now, I want him to be a good set piece. I want him to be that number 2 wide receiver, that red zone threat, someone that you have to pay attention to, but you're not going to give him number 1 attention like you normally would have in the past. Yeah. And that means he's going to have lower stats, but he's playing a pivotal role for your team. So that's all good things. It's just, do you want to spend the sort of money that you'll probably have to spend in order to get that production? Or
and I think that's where some of this is going to be a factor. Like, some of these teams are going to be able to pay a little bit more, but the Browns are one of those teams that can pay more. And I feel like it's probably one of the better fits because he doesn't have to be the guy. Like, he can come in and be a really good piece and not be the guy. And I think that works. I think that's where that's where his niche is going to need to be. So,
yeah. And I mean, I could make the argument for him going to the Vikings. I don't really want that, but we just had a deal happen here that we're going to talk about, but we made some more cap room happen. And so theoretically we could bring in a DeAndre Hopkins to be opposite of Justin Jefferson. And then you also have a slot guy in Jordan Addison. And
I don't know why you would though. Yeah. Cause I like KJ. Cool. KJ, I think, is on the upswing, and D-Hop is starting to be on the downswing. Like, yeah,
if we're comparing them head to head, of course, you're going to take D-Hop over KJ. Right. But I like the way that the roster is comprised right now for the Vikings. I wouldn't want to take away snaps from some of those guys that we have out there by putting D-Hop on the field. Personally, if we were like ready to win a Super Bowl and wanted just another playmaker, sure. Okay, then I'm going to look at it. But I don't think the Vikings are ready for a Super Bowl right now this year.
Right.
So
I was gonna say,
It's
because
not a
like if
move for us.
you're signing D Hop, you think that you have a chance to compete this year, right? That's what the intent is. Yeah, and Mac Jones taking shots that he does not deserve there.
Yeah.
Just
No,
just
I expect him.
getting dog walked for no reason. I like
Yeah.
Mac Jones, but not I don't love Mac Jones. That's too harsh for
He's
Mac. I love Mac. Come
he's a
on
mid
now.
quarterback at best.
Yeah, he's mid, but I mean, come on. Don't take shots at the man
I
that's
wouldn't even. He's not
downstairs.
top 15. But yeah, there's a lot of spots that make sense for D Hop. Neither of these two teams that he's been announced as to going to take a trip
To
to
visit make
neither of
any
them make
fucking sense.
Yeah, that's right. Bill O'Brien being up there in New England. I don't like that.
I think maybe
that
he
is
just wants to go
tough.
visit New England so he can walk in, punch Bill O'Brien in the fucking mouth, and then just leave. Like, all right, thanks for the visit.
Yeah,
that would make more sense to me than him being like, I'd love to go play for Bill O'Brien again.
Yeah, and like we've talked about with the Titans, they're just not a good team. Like Vrabel's cool coach.
Love Vrabel.
I'm sure that D-Hop
he will get another fucking head coaching job very shortly after he is fired from his job, because if they do not compete for a playoff spot this year, I believe that is on the horizon.
It's very possible, yeah. All right, but as I kind of alluded to, my Vikings ended up finally releasing Dalvin Cook. They tried to continue pushing for that trade opportunity. They announced that they would release him, but they didn't release him immediately. So that way, if anyone wanted to try to come in with a last minute trade offer, they could. Nothing materialized. And now he is a free agent that's freed up about $9 million cap space for the Vikings. Took a little bit of a dead cap hit this year, I believe $5 million dead cap and like $3 million next year in dead cap. But it opens up a running back room a lot more. I like the composition of our running back room a lot right now. I liked Cook a lot. I do. And he's 27, which is getting older in running back years, but it's by no means.
He's still got 3
bad.
years worth of prime.
I think that he has at least 1 year of very good production left in him, and then we could see a bit of a drop off. We'll see how he just had the offseason shoulder surgery, this shoulder that's been nagging him for about 3 years. That could actually extend his playing time a little bit. But the thing is, I think that he's going to go into a spot and he's going to have to be okay with not being the number one guy. The top landing spots right now are Miami, Buffalo. I've heard a little bit about Dallas out there as possibly a replacement for Zeke Elliott. Those all make sense to me. I get it. I don't know how it would work out great in Miami makes sense because he's a South Florida guy. That's a good offense to be going into, but they do have a pretty decent running back room already there. And so you just went out and signed some guys in free agency. You got Devin Ashane in the draft. You've got a running back room that, without Dalvin there, has 3 guys that should be getting mixed in regularly. And then you add Dalvin in, that's a 4th. Again, the running back room gets really crowded at that point, and I don't know how that works. Him going to Buffalo, apparently Dalvin had come out and said before, like, hey, I don't want to take time away from my brother. But he also has now kind of come out and been like, I'm open to going there. So having the Cook brothers both up in Buffalo makes a lot of sense.
That would be a fantastic fit. That's, I think, the best fit, because Dalvin doesn't have to be the number one guy. You get a room of Dalvin Cook, Devin Singletary, and then fucking James Cook. You can do a lot of dynamic fucking things with that running back room, and Josh Allen would have a field day with that.
Yeah. Now, an interesting one that got thrown out a couple times in different places that I saw was Cleveland.
This is not happening. Okay, so I saw this as well. And the only reason that this comes up is the tie between Stefanski and Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook had some of his best years while Stefanski was there calling plays. It's not happening. We are not going to pay another running back. We are paying Nick Chubb. We would not pay Kareem Hunt. Like, we are going to go with the rookies. We have guys that can fill in that role. We like our younger guys. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see a 2-headed monster of Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb.
But I mean, it's going to take
our offense is not going to be
Chubb.
suited. Our offense will not be suited to that. We are going to run more 3 and 4 wide receiver this year with Deshaun Watson. The playbook is going to be vastly different than what we have seen the last 2 years from the Browns, because of the weapons that they are procuring at the wide receiver spot, and they want to try to utilize Deshaun Watson's skill set of throwing and having the ability to run the ball. We're going to see a lot of shotgun snaps. There's not going to be enough rushing opportunities to bring in both of those guys. I would rather have Nick Chubb give me 15 carries a game and a couple of younger guys mix in for passing downs and a couple carries rather than bringing in a guy where you have to do a true timeshare.
Yeah, I think
Sorry,
that's the
I'm
only
getting stuffy
benefit.
again.
That's the only benefit to bringing him in is that there's home run threat potential that Dalvin Cook brings. Also, if something were to happen to Nick Chubb, you don't worry because Dalvin Cook can be a all-around workhorse back. But it could bring some longevity to Nick Chubb's career. I mean, the amount of carries that Nick Chubb has had, it's a lot, and that's a lot of wear on the tires. So if you're able to take some of that stress off of him and extend his career a little bit, that'd be nice. But like you brought up, you've got younger guys on your team who can go out there and kind of fill that same role. You're just not going to get the home run threat that you do with a Dalvin Cook or that flexibility of like if Chubb goes down, which he's had issues with injuries here and there. Then you have Dalvin Cook and you're not feeling like, oh shit, we're just going to our backups. You're going to basically another starter level guy immediately. I didn't really like the fit too much. I just thought it was interesting. Wanted to bring it up because it is.
It's the Stefanski connection. It's the Stefanski connection is it. But so we'll pop this up there. Browns plus minus 9.5 wins. I got us over, but not by much. I got us at 10. So I'm taking the over on 9.5. I think the actual line on them is 8.5. So if you can still get that, go ahead and take the Browns over the 8.5. It just depends on what book you're on. So with that, if you are a sports gambler and you are, trying to decide where do I want to place my bet today? Do I need to go to FanDuel? What about DraftKings? Caesars, MGM? Well, just go to BetStamp. BetStamp is an app that will gather all of the information that you need to be the smartest better that you can be. It will give you the odds from every single sportsbook on whatever bets that you want. That way you can decide, hey, I can get plus 220 on the Guardians today on FanDuel. That sounds a lot better than the plus 200 I'm getting over on DraftKings. And if you guys go over to BetStamp, sign up using the promo code MCarlisle. That helps out the show, and it's going to make you a better. You're going to send some money towards us as a show. I wish I could have changed the promo code. They would not let me, so it is just my name. But go check out BetStamp. Use that promo code. It is completely free, and it will make you better at gambling so you can show all your buddies all that money you made.
Awesome. All right.
Once again, that was straight from the hip. I feel so good about that.
Yeah. Doing good with it, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else as far as NFL football or any other sports that you want to talk about today?
So NFL wise, I don't know that there's much else that I need to talk about. I mean, I see that Bryce Young, it looks like he is going to be the starter. I don't know that there was ever any doubt that Bryce Young was probably going to start the season based on who the fuck they had in Carolina. That was just part of the process. That's a non-story in my opinion. But outside of that, really cool thing. If you are a tennis fan, Novak Djokovic goes out, gets his, I think 23rd, major win record for the men all time. If you're a tennis fan, man, the last fucking decade has just been spectacular. You got Novak Djokovic, you got Rafael Nadal, you got Roger Federer, like three of the greatest tennis players of all time have been active playing against each other for the last decade. Great for Novak getting that. He's probably going to continue to build on that. The game of tennis is in a good spot. But other than that, I don't got much of anything else.
Yeah. I'm good here, buddy.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. I'm starting to leak from my face again. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I feel like I sound congested as shit. Oh. Whew. All right. Sorry, guys. So this is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. The man to my right is Evo. We are going to be back next Sunday. We appreciate any time you guys come and hang out with us. If you want to interact with the show, you can go on the YouTube. You can watch our episodes go ahead and go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That way you get notifications anytime that we go live. We got our Facebook group and the page. The group is gangbusters. There's so much information coming out there. There's also a chat inside that Facebook group, so you can interact with other loungers as well. Hit up the Twitter. It'd be at Lineman Lounge, and you can watch me bitch and complain about the Guardians, especially if you were on the Twitter last night. I wanted Mike Zunino cut immediately, even though he is a really, really good guy. I just can't watch him play baseball anymore. Check out the TikTok, check out the Instagram, and we are also able to be listened to anywhere podcasts are found. We thank you. We appreciate you. Evo, do you have any parting words before we get out of here?
No, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks for participating in today's show. There's a lot of participation. I love that. Thanks for everyone who's watching, and we will be back next week with all the sports talk that we can get through.
All right, guys. Thank you. We appreciate you. We're getting the fuck out of here. See you.